now swimming in the image that there is a border rider who has been linked to this case, as detectives pounced on this border rider who was found in possession of a handset that they said was used by the abductors to contact Chantel's mother. We'll be looking at that story in a bit, and looking at the main story here on the front page of the Daily Nation. BBI court date jolts referendum plans, as the hearing of the appeal from last month's declaration started yesterday, and it has now been set for between the 29th of June to the 2nd of July. And of course, this casts a huge cloud of uncertainty when it comes to the possibility of whether or not we're going to be having a referendum in the month of July, as was hoped by the proponents of this particular initiative. And finally, Uhuru Ruto power struggle has been blamed for the stalled Kimwarer-Aror Dam projects, as the Italian firm was quoted saying that the DP has been a vocal supporter of the projects because it would benefit people in his backyard. That is the Daily Nation. And looking at the People Daily, budget funding plans have put Treasury on the spot. Again, as we gear up for the next financial year, 2021-2022, what lays ahead? The stage is set for titanic legal battle on a BBI again, as the hearings will be kicking off between the 29th of June through to the 2nd of July. And finally, the rider held over Kitengela killing, as members of the public and police were at the scene of the crime scene where Chantel's body was found, as the suspect was arrested yesterday for being linked into this murder. That is the Daily Nation and the People Daily front pages for you this morning. We get to those details now. Ray.
Now, remember that particular speech during the Madaraka Day celebrations? Definitely, we always react to what the executives have to say. Now, lofty Madaraka Day speech, but dubious economic evidence. President Uhuru Kenyatta, in detailing his achievements there, went down to give the numbers. What he said is that the size of the economy the size of the economy stood at 10.3 trillion shillings, while the size of the economy between 2013 and 2020 during Mwai Kibaki's tenure was at 4.7 trillion shillings. Debt uptake in the first 7 years during Kibaki's tenure was at 244.8 billion shillings. However, in Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure, 7 years, debt uptake has shot up to 5.17 trillion shillings. So we have 244.8 billion shillings against a current debt, country's debt in 7 years, cumulatively standing at 5.1 trillion shillings. Debt to GDP, that is average over the 7 years during Kibaki's tenure, ranged at around 46.1%, while we are currently in the last 7 years looking at an average, or being at an average of 55.4%, debt to GDP ratio. Now, total spending by 2013 stood at 1.26 trillion shillings, and that was during Mwai Kibaki's tenure. While when we look at our spending during by 2020, analysts have it here at 2.56 trillion shillings. GDP growth in the first 6 years of Mwai Kibaki's tenure was at 153%, in comparison to Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure, or rather term, for the first 6 years, it grew by 117%. So this particular article there just dissects what the president said in comparison to the actual figures on ground. Some of the other pointers that have been drawn out is simply put, to argue that an increase in gross domestic product from 6.4 billion at independence to 10.3 trillion presently is an economic miracle is not absolutely factual. Now, official statistics place 2002 places the nominal GDP at 1.035 trillion in 2002 and 4.261 trillion in 2012 and 9.74 trillion in 2019. Now, 2002 and 2012 are the last full years in office for former presidents Moi and Kibaki respectively, while 2019 is the last year of updated official data during and pre-COVID economic shocks. Basically, analysts here in this particular article were dissecting the president's speech, where he went ahead to just look at, what he has done during his tenure. Remember, you can get further details on our website in regard to that matter. So, Uhuru's growth numbers in context and the cost of a bigger national cake. If you want to catch up in comparison, whose tenure, what did we get under whose tenure and such, well, this is an article you need to look into. And talking about the president's speech, it seemed that the judiciary was at the cross, as some of the scribes put it, after that particular speech. However, the new Chief Justice, that is Martha Koome, went ahead to speak of her vision for an independent and responsible judiciary. She did not directly respond to the executive, and she went further to demonstrate her resolve to continue with the transformation in the judiciary that Willie Mutunga started and David Maraga continued with. We'll be keenly focusing on what Martha Koome has to do, or rather what her legacy, or rather her tenure at the helm of the judiciary will be like. So those are just some of the stories that found themselves on the front page of the Standard this morning. On to the details, Jane.
Now we start with this particular story here on the header of the Daily Nation in regards to civil servants who may have faked their certificates and documents in order to secure jobs in the public sector. So according to a preliminary probe, it indicates that at least 3 in every 10 public workers may have used fake certificates to gain employment. And this is information that has been put out by the Kenya National Qualifications Authority, which is a state agency that is responsible for vetting academic certificates. Yesterday, they did announce plans to audit civil servants' academic qualifications in a move that will see cheats surcharged up to 3 times their earnings during the entire time that they have been employed. And they'll also be liable to criminal prosecution. So looking at this particular statements that they put out is that more than 250,000 civil servants are facing the axe in this and heavy financial penalties due to using fake documents and certificates. So the assessment indicates that every 3 in 10 civil servants may have used fake certificates to gain entry into the public service. And according to Dr. Mukhwana, who said the agency is working with the DCI to find every single culprit, and they are going to cross-check these employees' stated qualifications, their certificates, and institutions which they got them from, because there are cases where there's some who say they got degrees from universities abroad and yet they do not even own passports. All right, raising questions as to how they did get these degrees, and yet these are not degrees that are offered online. They also said that there is an anonymous, there's a portal where citizens and anyone can actually go and report anyone they suspect to have faked their documents or is holding fake certificates. Now, looking at the categories in which they're going to group these individuals who are going to be found with fake certificates, there are 3. The first category is those who earned from institutions not credited to offer them those jobs. 2, those who acquired where one did not meet the entry requirements. And 3, those who never went to university or college at all. These are the 3 categories that are going to be used to classify anyone who will be found culpable, and they will be prosecuted moving forward from that particular point. Yeah, so that is basically what they have had to say. And standing at 620 billion annually, the public payroll gobbles up half of tax collections and to remunerate 842,000 public officials who represent less than 2% of the population. So looking at this figure that usually goes to paying public officials and public servants, it is raising questions as to whether everyone who is in this category is legit or not. So more of this will be put out in public as and when they continue with the investigations that they have already set in motion. Ray.
I don't know if I would say the end justifies the means, but hey, no, that's just, you know.
Let's wait and see.
Yes. Kenyans will always be Kenyans, and I think we are a special breed. Now, talking about Kenyans being a special breed, I want to draw attention to stories that are making headlines across the counties, and let's focus on the Mount Kenya region. Yeah. So now elders are set to, a section of elders are set to cleanse the shrine of Muturi's coronation. Now, these elders had earlier moved to cleanse the shrine after the coronation of the National Assembly Speaker, Justin Muturi, and they ended up meeting a strong resistance from the community. Now, this, just to put this into perspective, this is not the first time that Nyagathanga's controversies have come up. Let me take you back down history, memory lane. Let's go back to 1928 and 1958. Now, the colonial police post stood at the shrine and was only removed after the end of the Mau Mau War. Remember the oath-taking ceremony that was very synonymous to that particular Mau Mau resistance, where in our mother tongue, in our languages, the Meru community, we used to say Korea Muma, you know, taking an oath. That happened during that time, the emergency time, the strive to get independence, or rather attain independence from colonial rule there. But between that duration, 1928 and 1958, remember in 1952 is when the colonial powers declared a state of emergency in the country, but that did not stop the quest for independence, one that we enjoy to date. Now, in 1998, the shrine was put under 24-hour police guard after the Mungeki sect members attempted to seek refuge there. That was in 1998. And the year after, in 1999, the shrine was gazetted as a national monument and placed under the custody of the National Museums of Kenya and the Murang'a County government. 2012, politician Njenga Karome controversially crowned as a Kikuyu elder at the shrine, you know. And on May 2021, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi is anointed as Mount Kenya spokesman. Now, it seems that two groups of Kikuyu elders are to hold prayers at Murang'a town and later oversee the cleansing of Mukoro wa Nyagathanga shrine in Murang'a County this Friday, even as 7 governors from Mount Kenya West region plan to hold a meeting. This is what is happening. We say there's a storm brewing over Mount Kenya. This just as the stories that are making headlines, and this in the counties has piqued my curiosity. It's good to always refer to matters of history because we know chronos, or rather what we refer to time, has a way of making things clear. Yes? So that is what is making headlines in the counties, just one of the main stories there. I don't know what you have in terms of stories making headlines in the counties. Do you have another that, you know? Before now we talk about the bizarre story that took Kenyans by storm. And I was trying to highlight to you, Jane, earlier, that story that made headlines where apparently a man was bit by a snake yesterday. But what is very puzzling is that this snake fell from above. An eagle had carried a snake, a venomous snake to be precise, dropped it onto this man. It bit him, and when he shouted for help, people came around, and this was happening in Kitui. Maybe this is very important. This was happening in Kitui. And when the people who came to assist this gentleman came and killed the snake, the eagle swept down and picked up the snake, dead as it was. Then I remember Kamba Nation. This is Kitui. Now talking about movies, I think, Jane, when you're talking to the artists and the producers and directors who are going to be coming on board in not too long, maybe they can pick this scene and recreate it, because it's so puzzling. Very. How did that eagle pick on that particular man? Why did it swoop in to pick up that snake? Anyway, live from Kitui. What can I say?
Lunch to go.
Yes.
Now, before we get to more of those bizarre stories, just look at what the papers have for us in regards to the BBI court date. But before we get to do that, maybe we could catch a very quick breather. We get back with more of what the papers have for us. So do stay with us. We definitely have so much more lined up for you. Be right back.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye QuickBin ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitizama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353, alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka, kwenye QuickBin ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
Did you know that your house is one of your most valued investments? Get your domestic package insurance cover. This includes house and its contents, domestic servants, owners and tenants' legal liability. Now you know. IRA. Promoting insurance, protecting the insured. Next on.
Bye.
Okay.
Tiff. What is it, Eric?
He's a Tiff.
At least find out who Glenn is working with.
Ndamsaka alafu nitakushow.
Kama unataka uzuri, usichukue pesa ya huyo mama. Utaenda jela.
Unataka kumwaga huka.
What do you think is going to happen once you solve your father's mystery?
Let's wait and see.
If I go down for anything whatsoever, you better believe I'm taking Joel and Chris with me.
I can't take this anymore. I'm done.
Cheki, mimi naona tuishie. Wewe zidi.
So this is your game plan?
FM Ilaiska Umada.
The greatest rally in the world is back in Kenya. Catch all the action of WRC Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. See the world's best drivers navigate their machines on Kenya's rough terrain at breakneck speeds. Experience the thrills, adrenaline, drama and excitement as man and machine do battle. Don't miss out. WRC Safari Rally, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
welcome back. This is still Good Morning Kenya. I am Jane Wamboy. In case you are just joining us, you are in time for the second segment, or rather the second part of In the Headlines. So we're just having a quick look at the papers this morning, and maybe we could now look at the two stories that are on both front pages of the People Daily and the Daily Nation. And this is in regards to the BBI court date and happenings of yesterday. So looking at the People Daily and what they have in regards to this particular story, this 7-judge bench that was hearing the appeal is smack in the middle of riding the horns of dilemma. A catch-22 situation. They go on to say that looking at this particular situation, if it overturns the High Court decision, it will be accused of pending to accommodate political interests. If it upholds the High Court ruling, it will face criticism from BBI proponents. So where are the 7 judges who are leading this bench left? In a catch-22 situation. And by design, the judiciary is smack in the middle of this, because if it does, it is damned, and if it doesn't, it is damned. Now, coming to the Daily Nation, the appellate court will conclude hearing of the case, damning the verdict on the BBI ruling that was made, and they're now throwing the referendum prospects into a state of disarray, because yesterday they gave the parties 14 days to file submissions, while the hearing is set for June 29th to July the 2nd, and of course after which the judges will retreat to write their judgment. And initially the proponents of the BBI had initially suggested or proposed for a referendum to be in June, which was later pushed to July, but now nothing is certain, because as per the laws of the country, it cannot be within a year to the general elections. IEBC has also is required to hold a referendum within 30 days of notification by the president, but was also stopped from making any preparations until we get the judgment from this particular 7-judge bench. So now we wait until the 29th of June through to the 2nd of July to know the way forward when it comes to the BBI. Ray.
Thank you everyone who is watching, including Jackson Kihara, who is watching from Nairobi area there. Remember, we welcome your feedback in regard to what we broadcast for you here, and you can reach us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1 News, at Jane Wamboy, and at Ray Manyara there. I want to move away from matters of judiciary, legislation and BBI and get into matters finances. Why? Because you have up until 30th June to file your returns. That is according to KRA. And on top of that, we're going to be having the budget being read in the next few days. Actually, this is going to be taking place next week on Thursday. So ahead of that, let us look at the numbers around, that we need to look out for. When you talk about fiscal planning, especially the budget 2021-2022, what comes into mind is the issue of debt management and debt servicing. Now, Kenya is set to begin paying loans from China from next month. This is after the tax holiday, the 6-month tax holiday comes to lapse. Remember, we have quite a debt there to pay, beginning some in a report on the country's external debt obligation. Treasury disclosed that 162 billion debt from the Exim Bank of China that Kenya tapped into in December 2015 fell due after a 5-year grace period with the country, and expected to make 30 semi-annual payments for the next 14 years. 30 semi-annual payments for the next 14 years. So if your child is 1, by the time we're done with that particular loan, your child will be a practical teenager of the age 15. So, however, China, Kenya's largest bilateral lender, gave Treasury a debt repayment holiday of 30 billion, including the first payment of the second phase of the SGR from Nairobi to Naivasha. So 162 billion shillings among what we need to start paying up for come next month. has that sunk in? Still keeping up with the numbers is that there are other countries other than China that have extended their debt repayment to Kenya, are including Italy, which has rescheduled the loans amounting to 6.9 billion, France 4.3 billion, Spain 3.2 billion, Japan 2.4 billion, and Germany 1.7 billion shillings. Yeah, so Kenya also received a debt repayment moratorium from some of the 10 club member countries that will defer a payment of up to 32.9 billion shillings that was due to them between January and June this year. A sigh of relief for that, but still debts have to be paid. And talking about debt, it's not just Kenya is not just the only country that is struggling with matters of debt, as well as an economic slowdown owing to one of the things we're talking about is the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, according to the Mo Ibrahim Foundation, that particular report indicates that Africa's GDP, the whole continent, our GDP is to shrink by 91 trillion shillings. And some of the reasons that have been given is that, first of all, the issues of COVID-19 disruptions, and some countries will, however, take longer to recover, up to 7 years to recover their GDP growth to the pre-COVID period. Among the 7 countries are Algeria, Libya, Zambia. However, Kenya, this is some good news. Kenya will take less than a year to recover, so we need to keep strong. More diversified economies such as Tanzania and Kenya are expected to have a speedier recovery, while the extractive giants in Nigeria, the recovery is anticipated to be a little bit more sluggish. You can get details of this report. This report is titled COVID-19 in Africa, 1 year on impact and prospects. This particular report was made public on Tuesday, so you can quite check what is happening as far as the African region is concerned. Matters of fiscal planning, matters of debt management, as well as where we are as a country, and more so as a continent.
Now, speaking of where we are as a country in terms of our finances, the story here on the People Daily is that budget funding plans put Treasury on the spot. And this is as a report that was done by the Parliamentary Budget Office that warned that the National Treasury will find it difficult to fund the 2021-2022 budget, and especially more so post-COVID, which is set to be released next week. And this was so mainly due to 2 reasons that they give. Number one, due to under collection of revenue, of tax revenues, and the lack of policy direction. So the Parliamentary Budget Office accused the Treasury of, quote unquote, consistently setting over-ambitious revenue targets during the budget-making process, which they have never been able to achieve, okay? In particular, they accused the Treasury of giving the Big Four agenda a wide berth, raising concerns as to whether President Kenyatta will actually be able to achieve his legacy projects. So, looking at what the report said, and this is the report by the Parliamentary Budget Office, the National Treasury projects a total revenue collection of 2.04 billion Kenya shillings. This is 16% of our GDP for the 2021-2022 financial year. Ordinary revenue will be 1.7 billion. 14%. Looking at the targeted collection from income tax, which accounts for 50% of the entire revenue collection, it is set at 835 billion. The other main sources for ordinary revenue are VAT, which will be contributing 473 billion. Then we have excise duty, which will be contributing 241 billion. And we'll also have import duty, which contributes 119 billion Kenya shillings, bringing it to a total of 1.776 billion against the 2.04 billion that Treasury projects. Now, According to the Office of the Parliamentary Budget Office, since the financial year 2013-2014, National Treasury has never been able to meet the targets that it has been setting per financial year. And this calls for them to go back to the drawing board because they need to move away from the usual revenue collection methods and look at enhanced measures which have proved, because what we are doing has proved to be ineffective when it comes to meeting our budget. Year in, year out, we're having deficits, but we are still working with the same budget. So they call on the Treasury to relook how it is this grand and over-ambitious plans that it has when it comes to setting this budget. So as we wait for the budget to be presented next week, to be released next week, let's see how they're going to do it this time, if they're going to heed the advice from the Parliamentary Budget Office. But how do you see this going, Ray? When the Parliamentary Budget Office says that Treasury is, where is this? They use quote-unquote consistently setting over-ambitious revenue targets during the budget-making process. Is it a question of being over-ambitious or being hopeful?
Okay. Let's look at our budget applications. Let's just look at the recurrent expenditure, because that is what heavily, that is what remains constant. Over the last few years, we have seen the wage bill taking up over 50%. Of our budget. Recurrent expenditure is way too high, and the government has embarked on very many projects, including mega projects, especially in line with the government's big four agenda there, infrastructural projects. And the Treasury is told these are our projects, this is what we're going to do, and it's upon them to do an audit to see how much we can raise, how much do we need, where can we get it, how can we plan for it so that these particular projects do not fail and also government continues running. I keep on saying here that government does not have money. Government does not generate its own money. So it has to get money from somewhere, and that's why we have issues of revenue, And we are also doing a spot check, Jane, here from our business desk to just look at, expectations from various sectors as well as, individuals. What are the expectations ahead of the budget presentation in the next 1 week, which is going to be taking place on Thursday? And what Kenyans want is that the cost of living to come down. But then at the end of the day, does government have the requisite capacity to bring the cost of living down? Well, itself, it needs the monies. We have already said that come July, we are expected to start paying the first tranche for the Naivasha SGR, and we're talking about 162 billion shillings. And just that's just one of the loans that we need to start repaying. So what happens to the Big Four agenda, especially now after 1 year of COVID-19 disruptions? KRA has always been put on the spot, Jane, as a taskman for meeting its targets, revenue targets. Will this time be different? Remember, they closed the year, the financial year, on June 30th. Some of the policies that have been put in place, just try and support the taxman to rake in more revenues include the withholding tax as well as turnover tax that was halted just a few months ago. And this 1%, it had been proposed at 3% and reviewed to 1%. Businesses came out and said, we have not been making profits. Why should we still continue paying for something that we are not earning from? And I remember hosting an analyst who said, now basically, government is in your pocket. Government has become your expense. After you've done your house rent and everything else, you put in government, because we need to support government. Tunaambiwa kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. So, well, the recurrent expenditure is where we at, and I think when you're doing this budget, or rather those people who are charged with this, given some of the proposals for the amendment of the Finance Bill 2021, well, it's really going to hurt mwananchi, because if you increase VAT, for example, to 16%, actually put VAT on the transportation of bread, it means bread goes high. But then you're also bringing down the cost of medical equipment. So this is bound to make medical services cheaper. But at the end of the day, sum total, are these priority? Are these priority, or what is going to be priority? So I'm going to also be keenly waiting as a business reporter there, Jen, to just see what Ukur Yatani gives priority. Priority areas, especially with under these unique times, you know, COVID-19, and remembering that we have our elections just around the corner, and they're going to fall somewhat. They're really going to shape what is going to be done during this finance year 2021-2022 that culminates in June 2022. And we all know what is happening with the constitutional amendments there and the legal aspects, judiciary, legislature. But this, when it comes to fiscal planning, is something that we really need to ask ourselves. Priority, what is our recurrent expenditure? Can we, you know, just chop it? And that's why I think some critics will say the passing of the BBI would increase more people in the executive, more persons in the executive, and this would grow the wage bill, which is already ballooning, which is already getting out of hand. So are we really, do we have our priorities right? But we say the question still remains, has reggae stopped or has it been halted? We'll continue keeping tabs on that.
A question of priorities, because the country must move on. Yeah. Bills must be paid, development projects must continue. So, but in what order? That's the question. So let's wait for next week and see how that is going to be. Now, coming back to the Daily Nation, I'd like to look at this particular story concerning the latest developments in the murder probe into Chantel's killing. Now, more details continue to emerge by the day, and now it is the involvement of a border rider who has been linked to this particular murder case. So detectives yesterday arrested the first suspect. Okay, at around 1 p.m., police officers arrested a border rider in possession of a handset that what they said, the detectives say, that was used by the abductors to contact Chantel's mother, that is Miss Ngina. The rider was apprehended just meters from where Chantel's body was found. He is one of the 2 mobile subscribers who were in constant communication with the main suspect in this particular plot, who is still an unnamed woman. During the arrest, the rider did not put up any resistance. He cooperated with the detectives, was arrested and taken to Kitengela police station. He's told the detectives that he picked the phone on a road. He picked the phone that was used to trace him on a road. However, according to the police, they say that the border rider is said to have been working with the woman who the woman and the other 2 taking orders from the ringleader, who is yet to be identified. According to the preliminary investigations, indicate that the rider and the woman who kidnapped Chantel may have held her for a while and killed the child when her parents failed to pay the 300,000 Kenya shilling ransom that the kidnappers were asking for. The rider is said to have dumped the body of young Chantel wrapped up in a wet bedsheet just outside their home. It has been put out that more than 51 calls were made to Chantel's mother using this particular handset that this border rider was found in possession of. And they still are pursuing and trying to know if this still was a case of mistaken identity. They haven't confirmed that to be the case, but they are still pursuing this angle and seeing as to whether this was a case where mistaken identity for a daughter of a police officer who was being treated as a person of interest. Now the police officer is being treated as a person of interest, according to this neighbor who said that the children were friends, they lived in the same neighborhood and went to the same school. More of this is still underway, and police are still looking to establish as to whether this was a case of mistaken identity. So that is the latest in regards to this. 1 arrest has been made so far, and this man said he picked up this phone along the road. Watu wangu. This also goes to a while back. there was a report by DCI and they sent out a warning. Stop buying phones from random people on the streets of Nairobi. If you do not have a receipt to that gadget, please do not purchase that phone, because so many people have been found in possession of handsets that are linked to criminal activities, murder cases, drug cases, grand corruption cases, and yet they have no idea what it is all about. But just by virtue of being found in possession of some of these gadgets, you risk your freedom, and some of them actually end up spending the rest of their life behind bars because they cannot prove otherwise, that they were not linked to these cases that they are being associated to. We do not know if this boda rider is saying the truth or not, but that is what he said to the police officer. So be careful. Even if you find a phone on the streets, as per what this rider said, saa zingine catch 22, but you have to think further ahead. Okay? Ray?
When it comes to electronics, especially even when you go into the streets, you see someone and madam, iPhone, and you're like, okay, why would I be buying an iPhone from the streets, you know? Even why would I be considering to do that? But then again,
nani iPhone iko na screen saver ya mtu mwenye si mwenye anakuuzia.
You know, we just need to be prudent, and we stop being greedy. You know, instant gratification is also going to find us in different. Please work hard for whatever it is that you want to own. It does not fall down like a mango from a tree, or now in this case like a snake from a tree, from an eagle. You know, pun intended there. But we need to be a little bit more prudent, because trust me, if you are caught in possession of a stolen item, especially a stolen item where the person is dead, you know, by the time the investigations, or rather the the investigations clear you off, maybe it was just, you just picked it up and decided to use it, you saw no harm. By the time you're cleared, your life will be miserable, because investigations in this country take long. By the time your name is cleared, you'll have suffered. So please, for the avoidance of, you know, disruptions of your life especially, and also the people who love you, exercise a little bit of prudence when it comes to, you know, purchasing of electronic items. And at the end of the day, I also want to appreciate that the DCI has become somewhat very open with these investigations. We get to know what is happening, especially stories that have been highlighted by mainstream media. We get updates. That builds a lot of confidence, you know, in this particular authority, you know, especially at a time when Kenyans are feeling a little bit insecure, you know. Yeah, so be careful where you buy that particular electronic gadget. Have a receipt. Get a receipt. Get a receipt. And if you can identify the person who sold it to you, the better.
Because that's actually what DCI is saying. If you purchase a gadget and it is linked to a murder case, an ongoing case, and you have a receipt and you can direct them to where you got it, that is evidence that can get you off the hook. Because then you would have removed the blame and shifted the blame from you to the entity that sold this phone to you. So always insist on receipts when you are making big purchases, and especially when it comes to gadgets, because we are moving to a different phase when it comes to technology and information, and everything is moving to the tech space. So even crimes are advancing as we are advancing with time.
True.
Receipt muhimu.
Definitely. And it's not an orange or a sugar cane you're purchasing from the market. It's an electronic gadget.
Now that bizarre story, Regina, usicheze ni kama tumeisahau.
Yeah, those are your people. That's a Kamba nation, Jane. So tell us.
We do.
Those are things that take place in Kamba. Should we be worried? I mean, a snake from the sky, surely. I even don't want to imagine that.
No, see, the eagle ilikuwa imebeba takeout COVID-19 times in a jijali, you know, in a beba takeaway. Unfortunately, ikapitana na eagle mwenzake kusalimiana, banta here and there, ikadrop chakula.
What are you saying? What did you just say? Oh, it was a takeout.
Then kidogo kidogo
It
chakula
dropped the takeout.
ikaangukia mtu inside the car. Kwani alikuwa na sunroof?
That's what I want, but yeah, that's what
ikaingia ndani.
I don't know. That's still puzzling, and my issue is that when it waited for the snake to bite this man, and other people came to his aid, and when they had killed the snake, it swooped down and picked it.
Hey,
that's my issue. That's my issue right there.
It was waiting around for you guys to finish all the hullabaloo that was going on. Ikiona the coast is clear, shoop. Ikachukua takeout yake ikaenda kumalizia mbele. And with that, we want to put a cap on in the headlines. That has been a quick look at what the papers have for us this morning. A copy of the Daily Nation, the People Daily, the Star newspaper, as well as the Standard newspaper this morning. But it is Entertainment Thursday. We are about to switch it up and move to matters entertainment. So do stay with us. The hashtag still remains Good Morning Kenya pale Twitter. Stay with us.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye QuickBin ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitizama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353, alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka, kwenye QuickBin ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
The greatest rally in the world is back in Kenya. Catch all the action of WRC Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. See the world's best drivers navigate their machines on Kenya's rough terrain at breakneck speeds. Experience the thrills, adrenaline, drama and excitement as man and machine do battle. Don't miss out. WRC Safari Rally, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Next on.
Sasa.
Poa sana.
Umekaa muda bila kuja hapa.
Si unajua last time nilitengeneza nywele vibaya sana.
Oh, na vile tumetengeneza vizuri. Kwani siku hizi ni pesa una ama nini? Tangu nikushuke. Chau.
Pesa ama shughuli.
Pita napiga. Ngoja kwanza niongee.
Na haraka kidogo tafadhali.
Una haraka? Unaenda wapi mama?
Msema wewe ni nini unafanya pesa yako wewe? Nini? Wewe na machota. Na bado unaendelea kucheka. Nini? Mse unafanya nika umetoka kunyolewa na kiposho mil mzee. Acha mchana.
Acha huo ni ungwana.
My name is Absalom Maswani. I'm a navigator to Evans KBC. We sit in an Evo 10 that is branded under Green Life. We're actually sponsored by Green Life Motorsport as our team. And we will be happening in the WRC Safari Rally of 2021. Nataka kuwakaribisha nyinyi wote to come and cheer our local team. This is the first time in 18 years. I think we are having proper indigenous Kenyans doing these events in their hordes, rather than those years when there were few dotted pictures here and there. But this time round, we used to watch this on KBC. Now, it's here and live. Please come in your hordes, could you support Green Life, and stand with us as you see us through all the way to the podium. ahead of some of those foreigners. Tutawachapia sleeping warrior. Come and see this.
So fresh is on the beat.
What a waste. Ooh, Lord. A storyteller. What a waste. Baby, tumejiseti we on the highway. Tukafunga breki, tukaanza bishana, asking who is Diana, vipi mnajuana. I swear tumejibetray, baby tumejiseti, cause love isn't here right now. I guess we'll never know mali hii story ingeenda. Tulichoanza kuja tumalize, kinachokwaza baby ziandike, punguza drama baby zitushike, washa kishada.
I don't wanna argue, kako sawa miko sawa, kako sawa miko sawa. Akizile vitu tulipanga, ukanishukisha namba, najuna misi hiki tanda, vile visa na visanga. Akizile vitu tulifanya, kamlo badilishe namba. Bado wonsemanga mine psycho, bado mupiganga simu yako. Nilideletingi namba yako, lakini naikumbukanga kwa moyo. And I just can't explain, thoughts of you and me keep going up and down in my brain. And you were looking for some love, didn't care for the fame. I was looking for a good time playing the game, yeah. And now you're stuck on my lane, moving in together, baby, it was never the same. Oh, it's such a shame, kila saa tunakombana, lini tutaelewana.
Tulichoanza kuja tumalize, kinachokwaza baby ziandike, punguza drama baby zitushike, washa kishada.
I don't wanna argue, kako sawa miko sawa, kako sawa miko sawa. Akizile vitu tulipanga, ukanishukisha namba, najuna misi hiki tanda, vile visa na visanga. Akizile vitu tulifanya, kabla ubadilishe namba. I don't wanna argue, kako sawa miko sawa, kako sawa miko sawa. Akizile vitu tulipanga, ukanishukisha namba, najuna misi hiki tanda, vile visa na visanga. Akizile vitu tulifanya, kamlo badilishe namba.
It's Bob Maneke.
Ni maradufu upendo wako umenifaa, ni maradufu, yeah, yeah. Uwepo wako umetawala, nikiwa peke yangu sijakamilika, hata mipango yangu ninavurugika. Hakuna nezidi kwako mama, nguvu ya mapenzi yako bara, umenifanya nijione bora, bila wewe mimi siwezi ng'ara. Hakuna tena zaidi yako mama, nguvu ya mapenzi yako bara, umenifanya nijione bora, bila wewe mimi siwezi ng'ara. No, no. In case you don't know, nitacheka nawe, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe. In case you don't know, nitalinga nawe, nitakwenda nawe popote my baby. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe, nitakwenda nawe. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitalinga nawe. In case you don't know.
Inaweza kuwa fresh kauna time twende mali out, au kena chosha usimain neza kaa kwa couch, ni try kukuimpress hata smile baby angalau, na tunatesa hii town tunairan walai, maheto na kesho akitry kubring you lover down, usikwe na pressure sit down let me run my mouth, isikogopesha ikisound kama wedding vows, tumie location ukaa mali pia to lounge, night iko special surround sound movie loud, do be loud, see you loud hata bila party. It's a party for two. My mission is to always stay true, live to see my dreams come true with you. I smell the wine on your breath, then you turn around and whine by yourself for me. You got me trying to resist. I pay no mind to the rest, and I can't make a mind, you're the best for me. You pretty bum look, now you made me love you. Now let me remind you or tell you in case you don't know.
Nitacheka nawe, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe. In case you don't know, nitalinga nawe, nitakwenda nawe popote my baby. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe, nitakwenda nawe. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitalinga nawe. Nasema mimi najivunia kwa nawe, kwa furaha unayonipa, nipa darling. Nasema mimi najivunia kwa nawe, kwa furaha unayonipa, nipa baby. In case you don't know, nitacheka nawe, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe. In case you don't know, nitalinga nawe, nitakwenda nawe popote my baby. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe, nitakwenda nawe. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitalinga nawe. In case you don't know.
Kamoyo kangu kachoyo, kila kwako nimetulia. Nairobi mpaka Bagamoyo, anataka kunichumbia. Sasa nalishwa na vishwa naogeshwa, tena nalindwa napendwa, yule si wa kuficha. Picha kule kule, watapata tabu sana. Macho mbele mbele, ananipenda sana. Hakuna pingamizi kwetu, hakuna marama huku kwetu, hatuna maneno huku kwetu, tunapendana kikwetu. Akaka moyo kangu nijipe, nijipe, ukinipenda sana nijipe, nijipe. Akaka moyo kangu nijipe, nijipe, ukinipenda sana nijipe.
Kupenda sikatai kweli, ndo shazama, usinipige kipapai. Mimi hapo kwako shabwaga moyo, usiulaghai kweli, ndo shakwama, unachotaka sikatai. Najua bado amini haya yamekuwa, acha siamini, si hakuna pingamizi kwetu, hakuna madrama huku kwetu, hatuna maneno huku kwetu, tunapendana kivyetu.
Akaka moyo kangu nijipe, nijipe, ukinipenda sana nijipe, nijipe. Akaka moyo kangu nijipe, nijipe, ukinipenda sana nijipe, nijipe. Mapenzi malofu na we shida uraha nitapona na we, nataka kapicha na we, kumbusho pale tumetoka na we, semini leo ni mimi na we, ni mimi na wewe, hizi pesa mtafute na we, nitafute na wewe, let me call you my India, this love is real not ibandia, if I love you utakimbia, cause my love is real not ibandia, hakuna pingamizi kwetu, hakuna marama huku kwetu, hatuna maneno huku kwetu, tunapendana kikwetu, akaka moyo kangu nijipe, akaka moyo kangu mie nijipe, ukipenda sana nijipe, hanijipatie ba nijipe, akaka moyo kangu nijipe, akaka moyo kangu mie nijipe, ukipenda sana nijipe, nijipe,
Are just joining us, this is Good Morning Kenya. I am Jane Mamboy and we are glad that you have chosen to start your morning with us. As mentioned earlier, we want to get started with the first discussion, but before we get to that, the hashtag still remains to be Good Morning Kenya pale Twitter. At KBC Channel 1 News is our official station handle. My handle is Jane Mamboy across all the socials. Na hapo hivi Twitter, naona William Mamboy anasema live following the show pale akiwa Watamu. Anauliza ako wapi Doreen? Aranje, present yourself. Wamburi is looking for you. Walucia anasema Jane, loving the show this morning. Thank you so much for being with us. Naona Richard anasema nowadays people disappear mysteriously. What is going on, and especially during parties and most of the young people? Again, these conversations have been on the papers almost all week long, and the latest one in regards to the killing of Chantel, the 8-year-old little girl. We also have Reinhard anasema watching the show, absolutely loving it. Shout out to you. Lakini ujaniambia unatupata ukiwa pande gani. So please also check in with your location. We will be looking at what you have to say as we proceed on with the show. Mwamburi, let me just let you know, Dorina Koina the area. She will be coming up in not too long, so stand by. Utamwona, rangia thao, mandunya ametoka set, so don't worry. All right. We want to get into our first conversation, and this is all about the film industry. But before we get to the good, the juice of this conversation, have a look at this.
One moment tuko hapa, the next tulishaenda. Terrorism hauna nafasi yoyote katika jamii letu.
Ageta yuko huku ndani.
Hao wanatosha. Kuwa mwangalifu. Unajua the leaflets were meant for you. No. Ni nini mbaya? Hakuna kitu mbaya sana. Leave me alone. That's an order.
I'm certain that you're all aware of the recent attacks and abductions orchestrated by the terrorist group Al-Shabaab.
أنا كم بقي لما شنا كم عبسونا
Our mission is to rescue the hostages. These are our targets. Jibril and Mohammed. Their leader is still unknown.
I'm here to negotiate on behalf of the government. What name can I use?
Call me a legion.
In this world, there are three kinds of people. The sheep, the sheepdogs, and the wolves.
Come on!
We are the sheepdogs. It's our job to protect the sheep from the wolves.
wamefika, wako halkan.
Mission to Rescue. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a movie by Kenyans, done in Kenya to the glory of the world. Yo, I have a part of the cast with us in studio this morning to just talk a bit about that project. Such a step for us as Kenyans. We are used to praising movies from elsewhere, but here we are. Why don't we start by celebrating our own? With me in studio this morning, I have two gentlemen. I'll start with the gent to my furthest right. That is Gilbert Lukalia. He is the director and part of this movie. Good morning, Gilbert.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
I'm happy to be here.
Karibu sana. And to my immediate right, we have Melvin Alusa, who is an actor and also one of the lead cast in that particular movie. Good morning, Melvin.
Good morning, Mamboy.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Ebu tuanze kwanza, ukijiona kwa trailer hivi unasikiaje? Unasikiaje?
Nasikia utamu.
Stero.
Star.
Just before we get even deeper into this, how was it for you just going through the entire shooting process of that movie? How would you summarize it?
Do you want me to give you detail or just one?
Just in a statement, in a sentence, how it was for you.
Blood, sweat and tears.
Blood, sweat and tears. As the director, unajua mambo haiwezi endelea bila director.
Well,
being part of this project, it is something that ngojeni tu mutaiona. But how was it for you?
Yeah, it's a challenge like no other.
Yeah.
Having been in the industry for so long, when this presented itself, I must say, I had sleepless nights, even before any role of the camera. You know, just reading the script and seeing the possibilities and the challenges therein.
Trying to put together the mental pictures and how it's going to flow.
Yeah, it was scary.
It was?
But well, you know, they say if a dream is not scary, then there's no need to. Yeah, it's not big enough.
All right. Now, let me come to you, Melvin. You know, just looking at your artistic journey, how far back does it go? You know, looking at the creative space, we're living in a time where the creative space and the creative industry is thriving.
Yeah.
But a number of years back, that wasn't the case. How far does your creative journey go back?
It goes back, it spans over about 15 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started, of course, generally, like we all do, on stage, and slowly, progressively advanced to you know, local TV dramas like Maktano Junction, just to mention that one. And it's been going progressively for me also, but also as an industry, we've been embracing new options and new challenges. And I can say, you know, finally we are here. Finally, we can play at the world stage.
Yes,
yeah.
Here we are.
Play at the world stage. Yeah.
And even for you as a director, where did the journey start as a creative? You know, creativity presents itself in many forms.
Yeah.
But for you getting to where you are today, where did it start from?
Well, theater. Most of us started at the theater many years back, 1998. Theater, a play here, a play there. Then you feel you want to achieve something else, or become a director for theater.
Yes.
And then someone sees some special thing in you, and they tell you, maybe you should try this. And here we are.
Here we are. Yeah. And I like the fact that you've brought out somebody saw something in you. That goes back to the space that you were in, the support system that was there back then. Do you feel it was as supportive to get you to where you are today?
Yes. I must say I'm lucky that when we started, we had people that cared for the industry.
Yeah.
And they were ready to, do anything. I can easily mention people like the late James Falkland of Phoenix Theatre, who was very instrumental in the lives of many artists right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, old and young. Well, not very young, but you know what I mean.
Young is relative.
Yeah. So yeah, people, and we have a saying in the theatre world, especially, that you never know who's watching. Yeah, and like for me, it is really James Falkland who pointed at me and felt this guy can direct.
There's something in you that you probably hadn't even identified.
I hadn't. I can be honest with that.
All right. Yeah. And even for you, Melvin, coming we are in a space where creativity is appreciated. The industry is shifting. But looking at when you were starting off, how was the support system around you in terms of even your family, where you come from, those that you consider mentors? Do you feel they were positioning you in a place that you can actually say, that has led me to where I am today as a creative?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say, unlike Gilbert, who is my senior, I came into the industry years after him. Yeah. But by the time I was coming, I was getting in. The years were not. It wasn't. I came in at the point where I would say the industry was beginning to take off. So for some of us, or like me, it wasn't really difficult in terms of getting people who can point me towards the right direction, or even finding opportunities that are worthwhile, per se. But I can point out people like Keith Pearson, who is one of my mentors. Mombi Kaigwa also has been one of my mentors. Yeah. I've had the privilege of working with Gilbert also on a project here, or the other. But this one specifically being, the biggest project I've worked with him. So yes, I've had people who have pointed me in this direction. Yeah, it's filmmaking is collaborative. Yes. You cannot, you don't filmmake in isolation. No lone rangers. No lone rangers.
No, that cannot happen here.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a crew. The cast in itself demands a number of people. And allow me to just ask about the family setups in terms of support, because you find so many people in the creative space, they say, my family played a huge role in terms of supporting me and encouraging me to take on this artistic journey. Because we are coming from a time where the creatives, again, the creative industry wasn't as appreciated as it is today. So looking at even, let me start with you, Gilbert, just the family dynamics, how they played in terms of supporting you and encouraging you to keep doing what you're doing.
I've had a blessed family that has supported me in many ways, even financially when things were tough.
I can imagine.
Although sometimes they do things and deep down you feel like they really want you to change the course of your life. But huyu ni wetu.
Side hustle.
They usually, but really I'm very thankful that never at any point in my career nobody said this is what you're doing is useless. Even when I was down, even when things were not as looking up as you'd want them to, there was always like that support, and I really thank God for that, and of course thank my family.
Absolutely. Was it the same case for you, or things were a bit different?
To be honest, getting to this point that I am now without the support of course, nuclear and extended family, it would have been impossible.
It would have been impossible.
My family has been supportive. I've been blessed to come from a family that is also quite artistic. We have musicians in the family. We have people who, some of my extended family members sang in choirs. So for me to take this journey, of course, most parents would say, okay, we desire or we wish that you take this other path, but if this is your path, and of course they test you. Just how long will this path go?
How long will it stand?
But luckily you keep getting better and better, and so family has been
it's critical.
Has been solid. It's critical.
And this is why we always encourage our viewers, that's why we like having these conversations here in studio about the entertainment space, and especially on Thursday we get to heavily focus on the entertainment scene. It goes to just urge you as a parent to allow your child to thrive in the space that they are in. Allow them the chance to mold their path. As you advise them and guide them, of course, but let them guide you on how they want their career path to take shape. Now, let me come back to you, Gilbert. Looking at how the film industry has evolved over the years, how would you characterize it from what you have seen, what you have experienced from back then when you were starting, getting to where you are today with such a fantastic piece of art?
For me, the Kenyan film industry is a volcano waiting to erupt, really.
In a good way?
Yeah. Not Goma, not killing people.
I know, no. In a good way.
Very good way. Or let's even say a giant that just needs awakening.
A sleeping giant.
Yes, just needs to be triggered a bit. And the trigger, we're talking about audiences.
Yes.
You know, like value. We do what we do because we want it to be seen. Yeah, first of all, and of course then that comes in with monetization of the content, and that, to me, that is one of, I can't say the only missing link, that is one of the missing link. We have our own in-house things that we fight every day, about story, about technical, about stuff technical, you know, but those are fights that will never end. Because I believe art is an expression, and expressions are unique to individuals, and sometimes you might not feel me. You know, I don't really expect everyone in the world or in Kenya to love Mission to Rescue. No. But I expect a good number of people to appreciate it as our expression, as my expression as a director. Yeah, so for me, if really we got the market right, I think the world will see, you know, because you see, market, what a good market enables me to do is now just dwell in my zone and create, and not focus on other things. I know my bills will be taken care of.
Yes.
I know I will be paid royalties until I'm 74 and a half.
0.5. I like how you're being specific down to the point. Now remember, we are having a conversation about the film industry. Of course, we'll be running for you that trailer again, Mission to Rescue. Such a beautiful movie. We have two of the entire, just two of the crew here with us in studio to just shed more light on how things have been during the production and just looking at the film industry as a whole. So if you have any questions in regard to this conversation, or you're just seeking clarification, feel free to talk to us using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. We will be back after this quick breather. Stay with us.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye QuickBin ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitizama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353, alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka, kwenye QuickBin ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
The greatest rally in the world is back in Kenya. Catch all the action of WRC Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. See the world's best drivers navigate their machines on Kenya's rough terrain at breakneck speeds. Experience the thrills, adrenaline, drama and excitement as man and machine do battle. Don't miss out. WRC Safari Rally, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Mwalimu, you almost gave me a heart attack. Why are you talking? You're confusing us.
Confusing you? How?
I thought I was out of place. Why don't you go back to your bossy mother and ask her for your forgiveness? And pray very hard that she welcome you back. Because clearly you are not meant for this class.
Come on, is this a joke?
Of course, it is not a joke.
You haven't even written your name, eh? Can you go and wait for me in the office?
Mr. Tisha, I have been here for so long, so if you don't mind, I have a pressing matter I need to handle.
How about I give you all a pressing issue?
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
welcome back. Glad you are still with us. I am Jane Wamboi. Rono A. Lagat nakuana pale Twitter. Anasema always enjoying the show. Say hi to Melvin from Nairobi. You are inspiring us, the youth, to do so much. And thank you for joining and for making us wanting to join the Kenyan film industry. That goes out to you. He also says that he's in West Pokot, by the way. I love the show. Now the Kijeshi Kenyan movie. Bro! And anasema mwambie director and the starring, good job.
Thank you.
All right. Hey bro, umetweet tena. Tunataka Kenyan movie ingine. Tena sasa ma destructive movies. Like volcanic eruption. But then, we are not going to make a joke of that. Okay? All right. And there's also, let me just get this one on the Good Morning Kenya hashtag. A question had come in regards to now the movie. This is Vic who's saying Mission to Rescue is such a good movie. But being a Kenyan in Kenya, how do you get such machineries and weapons for the movie? Relax. Watatuambia how it was. But let me come to you, Melvin. You know, as per, just speaking from what one of our viewers has said, looking at the Kenyan film as a people, we haven't been known to have that screening culture as such. Watu kwenda movie, it is an occasion. And more so to watch Kenyan movies. How do you feel about this, the Kenyan screening habits?
Yeah, Kenya...
Over the years.
Yeah, over the years, you know, the culture hasn't been there really. You know, like just to get a Kenyan theater up imejaa, like you're saying, to watch a Kenyan movie, that's a high, it's almost like a high calling. Now, Haimanishi Mission to Rescue is, you know, is the best movie to Metoa. So, okay, it's an amazing movie. But we've had other really worthwhile shows that people can go to watch. But tukupata, so partly maybe because too of the culture, ya watu hawendi kuna movie kama theater, or also pia, sometimes, you know, we as filmmakers just get there. We've done the film, we've pioneered it to ourselves, industry stakeholders, and then marketing plan haikuangi beyond hapo. But you see, in where the industries have developed, there's most budgets za marketing are almost equal to budgets za production, so that the marketing is done on such a high level.
Full circle.
Perhaps if we had that, we would see more people trickling into the theater, you know, into the theaters. However, with so tukasema okay, fine, amtaki kwenda kuna movies zetu kwa theaters. Okay, so nyinyi mko wapi? Tuko kwa simu. Ukiingia kwa building squeeze, you see people kama ni the security guards, they're on their phones, they're watching something, you know, even in buildings, apartment buildings, around 11 o'clock when the house managers are done with their crafts za nyumba, wamekaa pale nje wana watch. So the fact that, let me just get the cat out of the bag, that Safaricom, you know, carefully thought out a platform, base, whereby for as little as 10 shillings you can watch good quality Kenyan content like like Mission to Rescue on your phone for 10 shillings. That therefore, tumesema okay, since movie ni kwenda kwa theaters ni occasion, how about we just get people where they are?
Okay.
You know, so I think this will this brings a whole aspect, of course, now as filmmakers. Monetization now becomes a reality, and also, like Gilbert says, we make movies, we tell these stories for people to see.
Okay.
Haina raha yote kufanya movie ndani ya Gilbert tunasema tunaambia napo umechiki ama hapa kwa hisi nililia mbona ukuweka hiyo kitu hiyo sindabaki
mpaka ipate.
So with Safaricom base coming through with this platform is just a big blessing for us filmmakers, and we are hoping that, you know, it'll get good reception. So far I think so good, so that our content can get to people where they are.
All right,
in West Pokot,
in West Pokot.
And you know, what else can we do as the creatives, because this needs to come from the creative industry, to also just change the mentality that we as a people have about local films. You know, there's this perception that Western is best. From the other side is best. But when it comes to appreciating local movies, you're also looking for siangefanya ka ule kwa ile movie ingine. Why didn't always comparing and looking for what is not working as opposed to supporting what is working? Changing that mental space for the population.
Well, I believe in looking inward before I look outward. So I usually say it is upon us, especially in the creative world, to just embrace it, and because I feel there will come a time when we will do something and people will have nothing to say about it.
Yes.
Because we are gradually improving each other. Let's sit down and take the feedback, and then go back to our drawing boards and say, yeah, this makes sense, this doesn't. If we are aloof of of all these things that are happening around us, there's no growth. We will not grow as an industry. You know, there is space for criticism. There is space for other people's opinions. The truth of the matter is the Kenyan audience, the Kenyan viewer is quite has a varied medium of information and entertainment. They have seen it all. We started watching series, American Hollywood series like 24 on local TV so many years ago. So our standards are there, and I'm not talking about us creatives, even the viewers. They're watching Prison Breaks, they're watching House of Cards, they're watching
things that set the bar like over here.
And the truth of the matter is, Jane, once you've been exposed to such content,
it becomes
there's
a reference
an expectation. Yes. And I have never had a problem with people comparing. No, deep down, of course, I will sit down and say, I wish they knew how our resources are not
situation kwa ground.
Situation kwa ground vile iko ni tofauti. But you see, I cannot tell everyone in the country that I don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. I just go back into our creative spaces and try to identify the things that we can access with the resources that are available, and one of the resources that I really encourage, and this is basically speaking to the fellow creatives out there, is time. Time is a huge resource, and most of the time free.
Yes.
Most of the time free. And if we invested time in what we do, Mission to Rescue was not shot in a week. You will not see a week's work when you watch Mission to Rescue. You will see, like Melvin's put it, weeks and weeks and weeks of blood, sweat, and tears.
And I
think it shows.
It shows clearly, and even when you do a shoddy job, it will also show. That boils back down to you as the director and as the character. Just even what does it take for you to step into character such that mtu akiwatch, they're like, this guy is good. In as much as you have been doing it for a number of years, and in as much as you have been a director for the many years that you have been, when it comes to your personal discipline and conversations around excellence and giving the best with what you have. What does that mean for you? And especially when it comes to preparing for this character, stepping into character, what does it take for you so that people understand it? Just because they see this product on air, bro, the things that went into that, I did not just wake up and do it.
Yeah. So like for I'll just so generally my mantra is an actor prepares. You don't prepare, I will see your unpreparation direct. It'll be seen. It'll just be seen. There's no substitute to just you as an actor, as a performer, preparing. And by preparation, there's a number of there's levels of preparation. So of course there's now let me talk about Mission to Rescue. Mission to Rescue is not your normal average movie, because of especially the physicality that is involved, and being a military movie, being a rescue military movie, the action, the physicality, all those things we had to prepare for for them. Just aside from the story, aside from me as the lead actor, understanding what the captain was about, understanding what his challenges were, getting that, and of course that also working. So there's my understanding, but there's also what the director's vision is. Because me and Gilly had, night conversations. We went and, Gilbert pushed and pushed subtly.
You didn't do that flip the way it's supposed to be
the way, you know the way he, something is said to you as you think, now this one I've gotten it. This is what this is how it's going to be. And then he comes with a different version or a new insight. And by the time I was leaving that room, I was like, this guy just crumbled my castle. he just
brought everything down.
Yeah, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're supposed to be on set at 6 in the morning. You've got no time to. So you see, so there's the working with the director to understand his vision, and also of course me with my input. But with Mission to Rescue, the physicality, man, the team was a crazy team. It's not just, I mean, the entire Simba troop there, we trained early. We had to get the psychic of not just a soldier, but these are special forces commandos, how they train, how they eat, their patterns, how they sleep.
The language,
the way, because if you're going for a mission, how do you position yourselves? How do you enter a building? How do you secure a building? How do you rescue? All those things we had a proper boot camp, and the boot camp wasn't static like we did it and then finished. It was all through the shoot. We didn't stop training. We didn't stop. Getting our minds in there. The entire, and it was a long time. It was more than 2 months. It was long.
You literally have to shift from Melvin
completely
to your character.
Yeah, completely.
All the way. And for those who are in the film industry, they take shortcuts. And they still complain that mbona watu appreciate. Understanding the value of putting in the work from your standing.
Yeah, it's a pity that money has become a measure of everything. So people feel you are not paying me enough to do what like somebody will be like, I can't do that for 10 shillings. What Melvin is talking about, and the physicality of it, and even psychological preparation, because you see that character is a human being with a family and everything, all these things. So even as you're doing the physical work, you have to still engage your mind and keep reminding yourself, my name is Captain Baraza, I am ailing, I need to to protect my country, I'm so patriotic. All these things need to come in. And so really for me, we need to make a bit more sacrifice when it comes to our work, so that we say, once I accept a deal, regardless of the money that is being offered, I will put in my everything. And
go
like
all the way.
Said, it will show, because eventually it will show on that box, on that screen. It will.
If you took shortcuts, it will seep through.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the resources that have been involved and tailoring it to the Kenyan space. Apa, we have Torch Victor, who's, as I read to you guys, he said that Mission to Rescue is such a good movie, but being a Kenyan in Kenya, how did you get the machinery and the weapons for the movie? The resources that went into this particular production. Let me start with you, Melvin.
I think
in terms of even facilitating you as the character to perform to the best of your ability.
I can say with Mission to Rescue, we were privileged to get good training from not necessarily the army, but consultants that knew how the military operations are handled and are operated. So that is how we were able to like really get into the mindsets and the physicalities of being a soldier. So as a performer, when I'm told this is a consultant, for me that one ends there. But the deep dealings of how that gun ended in my hands, really, mimi napewa na namuwasonga.
Cheza kama wewe. Let me come to you as a director, especially with the equipment that you need to bring this mental image that you have to life. And considering the Kenyan space and where we are.
See, as much as what we see on TV, we accredit it to the actors, to the directors. There are people behind the scenes who are executive producers and producers who are really the enablers of the whole process. And Mission to Rescue, like you will see, was done by a company called Foxton Media, and Foxton are really behind and I think it's about determination. When I was contracted to do this job, I walked into a room full of guys who are determined to do it. They asked me, what do you want? Tell us what you want, we will sweat to get it to you. And I really have to thank Foxton for that. Because even us, the same amazement that Tosh has, we were equally amazed. We're like, wait, we're
going to use
this is
that?
the real deal. And you want to be on a set where you say, I want to roll a car, and then you're told, go ahead. What do we need to do?
Yes.
And then they get a mechanic and they reinforce it with grills and they say, go. It's safe now. You can roll it, you know. So there's really a lot of to attribute to this film. Foxton will take a lot of credit. We will take the credit that of the film eventually, but
for now,
but really Foxton did a lot of work, and
All right.
yeah, and I can easily say from my experience that I have also met other people who are determined to raise the industry that way. But you know what has happened over years? We've let them down.
Now let's talk about that enabling space. And this starts from the government to the county governments to we, the creatives in the industry, and also the population as a whole. How have we let them down from where you stand? How have we let each other down?
We, like I said earlier, focus, money, and you just do things, you finish, and you go your way.
On to the next.
Yeah, and then of course we mentioned earlier about talking. I mean, we've let our viewers down because we have thought that our films are our own, that we can just watch them in our own small spaces and applaud each other, and life moves on. Yet Melvin might attest to this or not, that even after we do that in our private spaces, we feel a void of sort that needs to be filled. Yeah, and to see, everything is everything.
Yeah.
If we don't let down the executive producers and these financiers who come in, and then don't let down the audiences, when these things come together, that's how industries are built. Yeah, and I hope that we get it right, especially with platforms like Safaricom that really takes care of that end of markets and viewership.
Absolutely. And also, let me get to hear from you, Melvin.
Just to add on to what Gilbert is saying.
Yeah.
Like when I began, I said filmmaking is collaborative, and the point of letting each other down, especially when it comes to money, has been a factor in terms of. Like, I'll be out and say that Foxton hasn't paid me $1 million to do this project, which would have been ideal. However, I gave more from my soul. I gave more than $1 million, because you look at the opportunity, it's beyond monetary for now. We're at a point where, like Gilbert says, we're about to erupt. So can we pull each other together? Can we stand together? Yes, you can't afford me in terms of my rate card is this, but what you have in your pocket is this.
The purchasing power,
But the opportunity is so amazing. Bring your brains, let me bring my brains. Let's put this thing together, and I think as filmmakers, most of us have matured to that point. The opportunity just has to be worth it. When it's worth it, I'm in, I'll give my...
It's not just all about the money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, in as much as money is an important factor.
It is.
But what value does this leave for me, for the other person at the table?
Because you see, it's the kind of quality that Mission to Rescue has that has attracted people like Safaricom. If we did something a quarter of what that thing is, or what the movie is, then maybe they'll just be like, nobody look in. But my big thank you to, honestly, Foxton, because all the aspects, the aestheticity of the movie, they came to.
They went full circle.
Maybe just small addition to that. And it's understandable that we have embraced or borrowed a medium, but we have refused to look at the history. The first thing when you go to film school, you're taught about film history. And people like Orson Welles never made money out of films. We are looking at the Spielbergs right now, we are looking at the Avengers, and they're making millions and billions of dollars. But if you go back many years when Hollywood was starting, they were not making money. It was just a satisfaction that eventually, you know, the ripple effect was felt, and it felt like we can buy this, we can. It can be a regular thing that we do, and the culture developed, and eventually, and you know, so let's give a little, then we will take a lot eventually.
All right. Now I want to take a very quick commercial break, but we will be back to conclude this conversation. Again, questions, comments, clarifications zikuje saa hii ndio tufunge pamoja from this particular break. But first, let's run for you the trailer in case you missed it.
One moment tuko hapa, the next tulishaenda.
Terrorism hauna nafasi yoyote katika jamii letu.
Ageta yuko huku ndani.
Hao wanatosha. Kuwa mwangalifu. Unajua the leaflets were meant for you.
No. Ni nini mbaya? Hakuna kitu mbaya sana. Leave me alone. That's an order.
I'm certain that you're all aware of the recent attacks and abductions orchestrated by the terrorist group Al-Shabaab.
أنا كام بقاي لما شنا كم عبسونا
Sitasarafta somaha.
Our mission is to rescue the hostages. These are our targets: Jibril and Mohammed. Their leader is still unknown.
I'm here to negotiate on behalf of the government. What name can I use?
Call me a legion.
In this world, there are three kinds of people: the sheep, the sheepdogs, and the wolves.
Come on.
We are the sheepdogs. It's our job to protect the sheep from the wolves.
Wamefika. Wako halkan.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye QuickBin ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitizama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353, alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka, kwenye QuickBin ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
My name is George Mwangi. I'm one of the two deputies to Mr. Guvi, our clerk of course. I'm in charge of the Kasarani Super Special Stage. Kasarani Super Special Stage is a 4.8 kilometer stage. A stage where we'll have two cars going head to head. It is the only stage that you see two cars going head to head. For all our fans, we invite you to Kasarani. Do not miss to be here on the 24th. 14:08 is the kick-off time. Be here.
Glad you're still with us. We are back with this particular conversation about the film industry and more so narrowing down on Mission to Rescue, which is a Kenyan production done by a Kenyan crew, of course, in partnership with so many other people that had a huge role to play with bringing this particular movie to life. Now, as we close this conversation, kuna maswali zinakuja through my directors up there, and they're asking about, from a production point of standing, when it comes to translating some of these movies to local languages and tailoring them to the local spaces, how would you advise someone who wants to produce such, what path to take from a director's standing?
I'm not sure I understand that.
In terms of, like, let's talk about Mission to Rescue.
Yeah.
You've done a movie like that, and you're looking to translate it to the local space in terms of the language, in terms of content that even my local village can understand. How would you advise them to that? They have a script that they're looking to produce, but they want to tailor it to my space, my village, my area, my locality.
This might sound a bit off, but I feel we've had this before, that art is a language on its own. We've watched films in Spanish and without necessarily having translations and reading captions, and we have understood what's happening. I feel that if a story is well created, such things become secondary. But I also encourage that if you want to, if you're thinking of the Kenyan audience, then they think relatability as well. So, like our film is in English here, Kiswahili, Sheng, and then Somali, because that's how we live.
By itself, you've tailored it to the space.
Yes.
Okay.
We have that weakness, of course, of wanting to express ourselves more in English. But we have to. As we will find out with time, and some of us have found it out the hard way, that you shut out some demographic of people. There's just think it in your language. If kama wewe ni Mluya, weka Kiluya hapo, kama characters ni Waluya, kama ni wa Kisii, weka, alafu tutaweka subtitles. Tunashtuka na Kiluya. Waluya tushtukagi sana. There's a friend of mine from Tanzania who usually says, is a poet called Mission Potter. He says, fikra sahihi huja kwa lugha sahihi. So you will find yourself expressing yourself better in that language. Usitake kuandika story ya Meru huko, unataka Kizungu yote.
There's just some words that they make sense. Kuna vitu utahata kabisa. All right. And also for our actors, the young ones especially, who are looking to enter this space, what will be your advice to them when it comes to, number one, getting into character, working on yourself, and keeping up with the times?
I would say, I would encourage them. First of all, check yourself. Why do you want to get into the industry? Do you want to just come in and I want my family to see me on TV, I want my friends to celebrate me? If that's the case, then I would highly suggest you go for a TV commercial audition.
Yes.
You can quickly get in there, you're in, out, and gone. However, if you're passionate about filmmaking, if you're passionate about being an actor, the first thing I would tell you is, yes, get in, but number two, patience. You have to be extremely patient with this industry. I'm just doing my first lead role after 15 years.
Imagine that.
I'm just doing it after 15 years of doing small roles here, small roles there, cameo appearance pale, and sometimes you're seeing so much on TV, guys think, huyu jamaa anakuanga lead character. When I tell some guys it's my first lead role, nasema, kwani kwangi lead wewe? Umekufanya nini? Patience and humility also.
Yes.
Kuna watu wako mbele yako, kuna wenye mko now the same level, na kuna wenye wako intermediary. Learn from these people. I learn from Gilbert. Gilbert learns from someone else. I learn from other people as well. Let's learn from each other. Then, so patience, and then also, nitawaambia, this industry, for mile tumefika saizi, if you want to play at where the game is right now, your commitment levels have to be 110%. You're not coming in as you mark time to go to college somewhere. You're coming in to be here, to enhance yourself within the industry, to learn the craft, to know how you know, how are characters made? How do I flesh out this character? What are some of the methods of acting that I can employ? An actor has a toolbox, and that toolbox has a spanner, has a screw. You keep putting your spool, you keep, you know, loading your toolbox, and that takes time.
Yeah, give the profession the respect it deserves.
The respect it deserves. Don't come and say I just want to jump around because, you know, go there.
Yeah.
Us, we've been here for over 15 years. Na bado tuko.
Okay.
And this is where the industry has reached on our Kama Mission Trust.
All right. Now, for everyone who's going to be or hasn't watched this movie, what do you want them to get and understand from this particular production? Hata kama hawataipenda, hata kama hawataipenda sijui kiasi gani, ukiwatch hii, just remember this. Ukifikiria hiyo, let me come to you, Gilbert. You know, also looking at the, I like the fact that he's brought up the whole issue of professionalism in the industry, because even we as creatives, tunajiangusha. Nasamanga niko 8 to 5, lafu side hustle, ni production. Understanding that the industry deserves as much respect as any other industry is a huge factor in bringing the industry up.
Yeah, it's that cliche thing that they say, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's years and years of practice. Ukiuliza Kipchoge Keino ndiye afike hapo mahali yuko, vitu wamepitia na vitu wamefanya, hata kuambia niliamka tu siku moja nikafikiria nikimbie marathon nikashinda.
Na nikashinda.
You know, it's a build up. It's a build up. And I mean, the thing I would beg for the viewers and other people who might be interested into supporting the film industry is to trust us. I think I want Mission to Rescue people to watch it and trust us and feel I can trust these people, you know, because that way opportunities will come for me, for Melvin, for other young and old, you know, artists, and then, you know, the industry will grow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, as we close, in swali ya mwisho, I promise. You know, from everyone who hasn't watched this or have already watched this, what would you like the take home for them to be from this movie, whether from the story or from the production or from the fact that it was done in Kenya? What is the one thing that you pray that they take from this movie?
We have we are safe. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
We have a military that really is beautiful, and they have knowledge, power, skills, and, you know, the capacity to protect this country.
We are
that
safe.
is in no doubt. We are very safe.
All right.
Yeah, and then there is the last thing for our industry is let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. Let's push. Let's push. Let's push. Let's embrace initiatives like the Base by Safaricom, and let's see where they take us. Of course, nobody is going to glue you to that platform forever. If you feel it is not working for you, you step out.
Diversify.
But I can easily put the numbers out there and say, for us, we feel like it might be a good thing, because I've been saying this several times. When we did post our teaser, first teaser, that was about 2.5 months ago. It took us about a month and a half to get to something like 40,000 views, which is, it's not a mean feat on its own. But when Safaricom embraced this, I think this trailer has been watched by over 1 million people.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
All right.
And numbers do matter in our industry.
Numbers matter. Melvin, back to you.
Yeah.
Ukisalimia watu. Your take home for our viewers and everyone who interact with this movie.
Our military is highly trained, and they are resilient and really passionate. Their passion and resilient and resilience is honestly unmatched. And I would like that. I would like the viewers, or whatever sphere of life you come from, the passion and the resilience that you see with those special forces in Mission to Rescue, employ that to whatever you do. Kama ni kuuza mboga, kama ni you know, when you CEO or whatever, if you can just employ that to your life as well. Mimi kwenye natoka, where I come from, everybody anajua niko hapa.
Here we go. Aya.
So
1, 2, 3.
Ningependa, niangalie kamera gani?
Iyapa.
Ningependa watu wangu ningependa kutuma salamu kwa my people, like nitaanza na my extended family, Shem Alusa family, na pale hata wengine kama reply messages kwa hiyo group najua mna watch. Pokeeni salamu nyinyi wote. However, I'll mention Mishi because Mishi will reply. Mishi, pokea salamu sana na kupenda. My son ni Mluya, aliniambia daddy you'll be on TV tomorrow. Nikajua huyu ni Mluya. Tuma salamu. Akani Mali, pokea salamu. Teshi, pokea salamu. Faraja, pokea salamu. Nao mapacha pia mpokea salamu. Alafu pia singependa kumalizia kitu bila kusema. Honestly, kuna mtu tunasahau hapa. Without So we done the, we've done the movie. Foxton have provided the resources. We have come in with the creativity. Those things have merged. But Safaricom was somewhere else, and we were somewhere else. Our in-between, our go-between, was one brilliant lady, beautiful, amazing, resilient lady. Pia kuna passion mob. Her name is Wangeshi Murage. She runs a marketing company called Media Pros. She's the one who was able to now take this product and run with it. She believed in it. She saw it. She loved it. And now we are where we are, honestly, because she was able to use her links, use her connect to get us to Safaricom base. So kudos to Wangeshi Murage, whatever she is.
We salute you.
I just need to salute these few people, my cast and crew.
Those who could not make it here.
Yeah, I have loads and loads of respect, man. You guys, you do not know how I feel. You've got to get inside of me to know how I feel. Yeah, everyone from the writer, Kajitan Boy, from the producer, Kara. This film, the minimum age of the crew and cast, the average age was, I think, about 30. Can imagine. So what that tells us really that we have a bright future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ombogo, my man, Joji, camera pale, Ben Kiilu.
Good job.
Thanks.
All right. And
Umesahuzeze bana. Hiyo Land Rover imegezwa na that Land Rover
yenye ilianguka.
Hiyo Land Rover tuko na stuntman in this country called Luanda Jawar. Anakupandia na pikipiki kwa staircase, anateremka. That Land Rover he took, haikuwa easy to roll that thing. It took, I think was a number of takes, but he did.
I think 3.
Like 3 takes. And you can see Luanda is an amazing Zeze, an
and
amazing
this goes to speak of the talent that we have in the Kenya space, and understanding that when we come together, like there's so much more that we can do. Just looking at the cast, the directors, the stunts, the marketing. All that has contributed to bringing to life Mission to Rescue, a Kenyan production. Na inatuonyesha lens, we can also do better. We have to bring this conversation to an end at this particular point. Film industry, look at you. All about the film industry, of course. We will have more of this sit-downs to just see where we are, take stock of how far we have come and what more we have to do to just grow the creative space as we progress on with the years. We have been speaking with Melvin Alusa, who is an actor and the lead actor, to be specific, in this particular movie, Mission to Rescue, and Gilbert Lucalia, who is also one of the directors in this particular movie, Mission to the only. I withdraw and apologize. Withdraw and apologize.
You had come so well.
Gilbert Lucalia, the director on Mission to Rescue. Check it out. Let us buy Kenya, build Kenya, and support Kenya. We've come to the end of this. Bye, gentlemen.
Thank you, Jen.
Conversation still continues. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. More is coming up. We have a music interview in a bit. Stay with us.
si kwa kutaka kwangu, bali rehema yako tu, huruma yako tu, neema yako tu, huruma yako tu, kuwa hivi nilivyo, neema yako tu. Nafsi yangu mwimini Bwana, tulia kwa Bwana, mtukuze Bwana, muhimidi Bwana. Ametenda mambo ya ajabu, maisha yangu mambo ya ajabu, amefanya mambo ya ajabu, mbele ya adui mambo ya ajabu. Yanipasa kushukuru, yanipasa kumwinua Mungu, yanipasa kushukuru wewe, yanipasa kumwinua Mungu. Ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema, jamani, ni kwa wema wa Mungu, ni kwa wema, kuimba ni kwa wema wa Mungu, ni kwa wema, hivi nilivyo ni kwa wema wa Mungu, ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema, wema wa Mungu, ni kwa wema, si rahisi kuwa hivi leo, wema wa Mungu, ni kwa wema, hivi nilivyo, ni kwa wema, kuimba kwangu, ni kwa wema, afya nilionayo, ni kwa wema, uzima nilionao, ni kwa wema, yanipasa, ni kwa wema, kwa wema, ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema, hivyo ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema, tena ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema, shukuru Mungu, ni kwa wema, wimba kwangu, ni kwa wema, soma yako, ni kwa wema, shukuru Mungu, ni kwa wema, nasema si rahisi, ni kwa wema, ni wema wa Mungu, ni kwa wema, usikilize, ni kwa wema, hivi ni wema wa Mungu, ni kwa wema, usikilize, ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema, ni kwa wema.
Nimekupea kura za roho yangu, my love, you're my number one, index 001.
Nilishawakabidhi moyo wangu, wakaniacha na maumivu, kidonda ukakiponya, baby. Usijegeuka mashaza, moyo wangu uko kwa rua, aweni waifu material, so mchepuko wa dharura, baby. Halua yangwe, basi nipe michezo ya Mombasa, makwini wange, sheri nana, baby you're the one for me, baby wa mukwano wange, baby wa ni wange.
Nimekupea kura za roho yangu, my love, you're my number one, index 001.
Acha nikupe kura za
kupata meeting, nimekubali you kill me, na nitatangaza kwa radio na TV. Hey, yeah. Kupanda miti nilisha sare, si mimi I mean it. Usishike nare, hizo ruma sifiti. Kujitenga misidhani kamgonjwa na dakitari. I need you my baby, I love you girl. Kukucheza misidhani kimaradona iwezekani. I need you my baby, I love you girl. Nimekupea kura za roho yangu, my love. You're my number one, index 001. Acha nikupe kura za roho yangu, my love. You're my number one, index 001. Index 001. Index 001. Index 001. You're my number one. Nimekupea kiti, sasa wendo chair lady. Yeah, nimelipa tikiti, so tonight I'm in your city. Yeah, formation ni gani? Location ni wapi? Uko down south ama leo uko Malindi? Nimekupea hisia za roho yangu, my love. You're my number one lady, 001. Nimekupea kura za moyo wangu, my love. You're my number one, index 001.
Next on.
Bye. Okay. What is it, Eric?
Is that if
At least find out who Glenn is working with.
ndamsaka alafu nitakushia.
Kama unataka uzuri, usichukue pesa ya huyo mama. Utaenda jela.
Unataka kumwaga uga.
What do you think is going to happen once you solve your father's mystery?
Let's wait and see.
If I go down for anything whatsoever, you better believe I'm taking Joel and Chris with me.
I can't take this anymore. I'm done.
Cheki, mimi naona tuishie. Wewe zidi.
So this is your game plan?
The greatest rally in the world is back in Kenya. Catch all the action of WRC Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. See the world's best drivers navigate their machines on Kenya's rough terrain at breakneck speeds. Experience the thrills, adrenaline, drama and excitement as man and machine do battle. Don't miss out. WRC Safari Rally, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Program, if you're just joining us, you're right in time for our second conversation on Entertainment Thursday. And right now, when it comes to the gospel space, our focus this Thursday is just going to be what we tried to focus on last week. So continuing on that trend, and this is the award system. Did the award system change the trajectory of how gospel music is being done? That is our focus this morning. And my guest on set is Moses Nyaga. Anajita gospel musician.
Yeah, gospel musician.
How are you this morning?
I'm very fine.
Uko fiti?
Niko fiti kabisa.
Easy, relaxed?
Yeah, I'm easy and relaxed.
Good stuff. Before we go to the aspect of the award system and the word, because in gospel we know the word is the important, yani hiyo ndio kitu ya muhimu sana.
That's the baseline. That's the baseline in gospel.
But we had the awards,
Yeah.
which sort of like changed the shape of how gospel music is being done.
Exactly.
Before we get into all of that, let's just begin from you as a musician or an artist. What really, how best can you describe your style?
Very well. My style, I can describe it as it's a style that I've admired from one Rose Muhando, because I think that style of gospel is the real gospel, where you're not just singing for maybe cloud chasing like people are doing nowadays, but you're singing to praise God for who He is, because the Bible says that God created us so that we could worship Him. He dwells in our praises. So I believe that the gospel music that we should be doing is one that exalts God above exalting oneself. And I think such kind of a style is a good style. I believe it's a good
So does
style
it
for
mean
gospel.
wengine their style is not one to praise God and yours is actually...
No, I'm not implying that.
Yeah.
But what I'm implying is that currently people have quite drifted away from the way of gospel. You look, some people have criticized how gospel artists are producing their music.
And right now
where
it's
they are
a lot.
presenting their music. You find some gospel artists maybe in clubs and all that, and it's quite controversial. So I'm not implying that mine is the real gospel, but I think that style of, let me say, the original gospel, kind of zile za kina Rose Muhando, Bahati Bukuku, I think they're kind of good.
All right.
Yeah.
You've said something interesting, and I'd like us to explore it just a bit.
All right.
That artists going to clubs, singing in clubs, but someone would say, I'm just going to preach and spread the word. Kwa hawa watu naenda kuwatafuta huko ndani. What's so wrong with that? Because again, it's I mean, it's always a double-edged sword, because some would say it's wrong, others would say what's wrong in it? I mean, this is also why Jesus came, perhaps. What is your take on that?
Well, my take will be, first off, what is your real intention by you going there? Are you really going there maybe to save souls, as you say? Or are you just there because maybe you're looking for that popularity and all that? Yeah, you see? And I think in second place, people might just get confused about you. If, for instance, today myself is a gospel artist and I'll be singing in a club somewhere, you see, it could be quite controversial. So I think it's not bad that we are ministering to going for the souls in the club, as people put it. But I think it's quite controversial. It's a very controversial topic. Yeah.
All right. So again, it just goes back to the question of what is your intention?
Exactly.
All right.
The intention.
Okay, you've mentioned Rose Muhando over and over again, and want to believe that also this is someone that you look up to.
Exactly.
Someone that perhaps you would say is your mentor.
Yeah, she's my mentor.
Why specific Rose Muhando, and not just about his music?
Yeah.
So why specific this person?
The specific reason that my music, first of all, is quite centered towards her style, and she's my mentor actually, is because I find her songs to be they uplift me so much. You see, she has sung on a wide range of issues, and this is music that really exalts God, first of all, for who He is. Yeah. This is music that, you know, you listen to it and you're just blessed by Rose Muhando. And that's where I've drawn my inspiration.
Your inspiration.
Yeah.
So aside from her as a person, where else or what else is your inspiration and your motivator in terms of also how you create your content?
Yeah, first of all, you know, gospel, the baseline, as you said, is about the word.
Yeah.
And I think when you listen to her music, it's so much about the word, yeah? It's not so much maybe about a lot of things, but first of all, it's about the word of God, which is the basic line, which is the baseline when it comes to gospel music. And second of all, her music is also inspiring. You listen to her and For example, she has done a song Wanyamazishe Bwana. I don't know if you've heard about it.
We will listen to it.
Yeah, we listen to that song. Yeah, it's a style that, you know, it draws a lot, all issues in life, bringing it to the aspect of God.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I love about that music.
All right. And you even have a song with her. This is Nikwa Wema.
Yeah, Nikwa Wema.
And we'll be getting to listen to that song in just a short while. But getting to do a collab with such a big artist as her, how did that come about?
First of all, as the song says, Nikwa Wema. Mimi nasema tu Nikwa Wema. Because I have not known Rose for a long time. Actually, I knew her on the 27th of February.
That is this year.
Yeah, during a launch at Villa Rosa Kempinski, where she was launching her album. Yeah, and that is where I met her. And let me say she's a humble woman of God, because I approached her and I requested her that I would like to sing with you, because I've looked forward towards that since my childhood and all that.
Okay.
And that's how we met. And we sang barely 2 weeks after we have known each other. Yeah, and here we are, Nikwa Wema.
So it was just a one-time meeting, and that was it?
It was a one-time meeting. No one had planned. I believe it was just God planned. Even myself attending the launch.
All right. So then tell us a bit about that song and the idea behind it.
The idea behind the song Nikwa Wema is because personally, when I look at my life, I believe that the grace of God has really had a great impact. Let me not say, but generally towards everyone. It's God's grace that has gotten us to this point here. And the Bible says in the book of Zechariah that it is not by strength nor by might, but by the power and the grace of God. Yeah, and that's where I drew the inspiration to sing that song, Nikwa Wema wa Mungu.
All right. So see ati kuna some story, like, you know, you went through, as you know, see, and I usually actually say, for a good number of gospel artists or ministers, regardless, they will even tell you that, you know, for me, it was actually this. I went through this. This is how life was difficult. And then, boom, just God showed up.
Of course, there is that aspect of difficulty.
Yeah.
But for me, the main, you know, the main maybe event that happened that made me see truly Nikwa Wema, you know, it's quite difficult to get someone like Rose Muhando to sing with you.
Yeah.
Yeah? I believe it's
artists from way back and very big artists.
That's a jina kubwa. And you know, you look at it, first of all, it's just by grace, yeah, that we met here, and it was just a one-time meeting, and we are done. We are singing. It's not easy for her to collaborate like that, yeah. So that's one of the, you know, the events that led me to say hakika Nikwa Wema.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you beginning music professionally, it was not, you know, a long time ago, so you can safely say that at least you're still coming up in the gospel space. What are you seeing now that perhaps from what was there back in the day that you're seeing that up, actually there's a difference? I see there's a difference in how music is being done, and perhaps it's not in the right way, because there's a lot of negative speech toward the gospel space and how it is right now.
Yeah, that's true. There is a lot of, you know, controversies surrounding how gospel music has turned out to be in the current era. And that takes us back to the issue about the word and the award, because now people are singing for their own interests. For instance, you may find someone thinks that it is easier to hit when you sing gospel music, then after that, people are now using gospel music as say a bridge. When you cross over to fame, you now turn out to be what we say worldly. Yeah, I think that's what has changed. The people are no longer genuine about gospel music. They're just singing so that well, it's not everyone, but quite a number. Quite a number in our recent times.
Okay. Now, actually, now we can go to that conversation of the award and the the award system and the word as a whole. Because just also from what you're mentioning, that the word is important when it comes to the gospel space. But then again, also awards are good. I mean, it shows that you are appreciating my craft. So where then does someone needs to draw the line, or where then do artists need to draw the line?
I think artists need to draw the line on, first of all, let your aim not be the award, yeah? Just, well, people will appreciate your music, it's true, but do not sing so that maybe you'll be recognized and all that. First of all, this is a gift that God has given you.
Okay.
Use it to praise Him and serve Him first.
It's all about God in the first place.
Yeah, basically, I think that's it.
Okay.
Because I think the vibe in gospel is God. Yeah, I think God, because honestly, that is the baseline about gospel music. Yeah, God, His works, His deeds. Yeah. So if you sing so that maybe you get recognition or something of that sort, I think you will be quite misplaced. Yeah.
Okay.
So I believe, and that has really messed up things, because people are just clout chasing, so that you sing a gospel song, you want to get in a scandal and trend. You see such kind of things. I think it's quite controversial. We have lost the way as gospel music.
When you say that it has messed up things a bit, then does that mean that it was sort of wrong in the first place to have this award system? The likes of Groove, Kisima and all. Was it wrong?
It's not wrong.
Okay.
It is not wrong. What has changed and what has now gone wrong is the perception now of artists, because it has now become a competition. And I think in the kingdom of God, and that has created, you even hear that two gospel artists have a rift, over something. Maybe this one was nominated for this award, the other one was not. You see, it has even changed how even the outlook of gospel artists is, because we are now in a competition that this year we want to see who will win this award, and that we are not focusing on encouraging people's lives. We are not focusing on praising God. We are focusing on the awards. Yeah, so it's not a bad system, but I think what should change is the intention of artists. Yeah, let it not be about awards and all that. Let it be about the word first and then the award later on.
Let it be first about the award and then the award.
Yeah.
And again, the aspect of intention also comes in. So there's nothing wrong.
Are you singing?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with this awards, only that the minds shifted towards the wrong kind of thing.
Yeah, the mindset, the reception of.
All right. So then let's talk a bit about the aspect of word when it comes to gospel music, because again, there's always that perception of, neza kwa naimba just about what the happenings of life, perhaps what people are going through, and some would term it as gospel. Some would say, if it does not have the name Jesus or God, it tend to see a gospel. So what is the importance of the aspect of the word itself in the music?
So first of all, as I told you that the word is the baseline. Personally, I have done a song. It's called Hatutabaki Pale.
Okay.
And that song is quite, encouraging. Yeah. Maybe the situation is hard. You'll not remain there forever. Yeah. But when you now add the aspect of the word, coming there, you will not remain there forever. Why? We are drawing inspiration from the Bible. God is there. Nothing will go wrong. So I think that it's to boost. The word is the baseline. Now these maybe you're saying about the circumstances and all that. Now the practicality, the relatability to people's lives.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with just singing about life and wanting to term it as gospel.
Well, for as long as it is in line with biblical standards and teachings, I think that's good.
It's fine.
Yeah, because again, gospel music is not, it's there to uplift you, spiritual nourishment is important. Because some things may happen and you are wondering, oh my God, you are humanly understanding. Well, you don't understand, but there is that comfort that we get from that kind of spiritual nourishment. We know that at least there's a greater power that can do more than we can imagine.
Okay, so then, Moses, what would you say to those that would say, if this song does not have the word God or Jesus or just something inclined towards that, then it's not gospel?
Well, I think that kind of reasoning is quite, I don't think it's right. I think gospel music, this is something that, will uplift your spirit. This is something that will nourish you. So for as long as, you know, the teachings in that song, the doctrines that are being preached in that song, for as long as they align with, you know, our Christianity doctrines and all that, I think that's all right.
So we should not castigate. That is just the way I used to. It's not gospel.
There is that, you know, there is that narrative among, but I think it's becoming quite outdated, kind of.
Sort of. People are sort of adapting.
People are now sort of adaptive. Yeah, we don't have, you know, that like people say, if it doesn't have the word Jesus in that, that is not gospel.
Yeah.
Well, for instance, we have maybe the verse in the Bible that says, that one that says it's not by power nor by might, but it's by God's grace. You see, well, that is quite, it's not a must for it to be in that dimension of you must mention the word Jesus, you must mention
for it to be termed as gospel music.
As gospel music, but the word is basic.
Then tell us a bit about that song, Hatutabaki Pale, as we conclude the conversation.
Yeah, Hatutabaki Pale is a song that I've done. It's 1 month old now. I did that song out of, you know, there are so many challenges. We have seen that others are even committing suicide and such kind of stuff. Life has become tough, the COVID situation, you know. And so people are almost giving up. But there is hope, The Bible says that there is hope for a tree that has been cut down.
Yes.
It will come again and sprout. Actually, it's a verse in that song. So it's a song to give us hope that while things might not be good right now, but that is not the end of it. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So you don't have to despair. First of all, God is there. And then second of all, things will be better.
So it's more of an uplifting and encouraging kind of song.
Exactly. It's more of an uplifting, encouraging kind of song.
Okay. Then finally, since you're just still a bit new in the game, what next for you as an artist?
Well, what is next for me as an artist? I aspire to, you know, sing for God's glory, not for self-glorification maybe.
And not for awards.
Yeah, not, you see, if the awards come,
well and good. If they don't,
and good. If
inshallah.
They don't, again, inshallah, we will try again another day.
Okay.
But the baseline of it is, first of all, for God's glory. So I am working on an album by the end of the year. I will have released an album.
Wow, that's beautiful. So much ahead for you. All right, thank you so much, Moses Nyaga, for your input, and at least to make us understand a bit about this award and the words, because there's a lot of conversation, especially among the gospel, in the gospel space, in regards to that.
It has really changed a lot, because now artists, you find it has even brought up that competition. Now gospel has become kind of a competition. Instead of, you know, we are praising God, we want to uplift people's faith. Now it has become a competition.
And it does not need to be that way.
It does not. Kwa Mungu hakuna ushindani.
Okay, thank you. Okay, fine. So that has been Moses Nyaga, our guest this morning when it comes to just understanding about the gospel space. And this is where we bring Good Morning Kenya to a close this Thursday. Thank you so much for watching from me and on behalf of the entire team. Till next week, good morning.
They gave it all with every bit of strength that was left in them in pursuit of glory. But it proved to be elusive. The anxious moments were turning into despair. Until one man came to the rescue.
Limo is leading it.
Benjamin Kipkoech Limo was the hero of the 2005 World Athletics Championship that will forever be etched in many Kenyan hearts.
Bursting down the stretch, and
it's going to be Benjamin Limo of Kenya, who's your 5,000-meter world champion.
Before we participated in the trials in Kasarani, I went for some 2 races in Europe, of which I saw that I was running 13:0 something, which it was a good sign for me to show that I was actually on the pipeline to the preparation. I remember that time we ran the best time, one of the best time in Kasarani soil, which stands up to now 13:11 with my colleague Isaac Songo when we were selecting the team. And those were some of the things that really gave me hope that I was very well prepared when I was going for the Helsinki.
And this is how he managed to spare Kenya the blushes in the 5,000 meters race, which he won in a slow time of 13 minutes, 32.55 seconds, when all hope had faded.
When we were actually entering the field, I know we were a strong team of 5, and I know one of us was going to win. So during the race, I kept on controlling the pace, and I know the last 1,600 meters was going to be fireworks, and I had done all that is needed. I remember I used, like 3 to 4 weeks before the championships, I pitched my tent in London, where I used to do a lot of speed work. So I knew if these guys were with me the last 400 meters, I was able to run 400 meters in even 50 seconds, and I did that. That's why I won the Helsinki.
And the Lord does work in mysterious ways, for he not only brought a joy to the nation, but the family as well. In everything, oh, double, double. Oh, for behold, a son was born to him too, that will carry on his legacy.
The baby came during when we were running the hits. You know, before the finals, you have to run the hits. So, and that I think I was almost being ruled out of the competition because I qualified under the best losers. Everybody has to do his role. Mom has played his role together as a son, and also it was my challenge now to deliver another gold medal. It has also motivated my son up to now that he is a good dream runner. He wants to run like me.
That a memorable outing in Helsinki, where he was not even a favorite, elevated Limo to celebrity status, which culminated in him being named the Male Sports Personality of the Year during the 2005 Soya Awards.
Doesn't look like he's going to do it because Sue just moved out. Limo is leaving his teammate behind. He's in 4th place.
It was befitting given that he had come so close back in 1999 in Sevilla, where he was forced to settle for second best after charging from the back as is known in a record-breaking race won by Salahisu of Morocco.
Limo's coming through. Limo gets the silver medal. Sue wins this championship.
Benjamin Limo had by then established himself in cross-country running, where it all began in 1998 when he flew out to Marrakesh.
Cross-country remains one of my best events in running. Simply because, you know, cross-country is about engaging your strength and your ability, and also using your mind at some point. Because cross-country running is not about the speed that you might have, but the tactics and some of the ability, because part of the road is mud. There is all these up hills, down hills, these corners, so many things in cross-country.
A year later, he was able to win the 4-kilometer short course race in Belfast in Northern Ireland.
There was no competition actually. I ran from start to finish ahead of everyone, and I sprint to the finish, and I won the gold medal. But this one in 2003 in Lausanne, that one was very strong field, and for anybody who won that event was really very strong.
He later settled for third in 2001 and 2003 after an injury-prone season that saw him mount one of the most formidable challenge against the emergence of Ethiopia's Kenenisa Bekele.
We prepared very well in Embu, and our main focus was to finish Kenenisa Bekele. That time I decided to run from kilometer 1 to kilometer 4 in front, and we were running with my my fellow athletes, John Kibowen. And I remember at one point, towards the finish, I told him, you have to remain from behind because we needed a backup for him, so that if I was tired, we had somebody who was going to attack him. I signaled my colleague because I was some 5 meters ahead. So I made a mistake of signaling my friend in his presence. So he realized that we had a game plan. So he decided to use his last energy to attack. And to my surprise, my friend could not react. And we gave him a very hard, easy victory.
The legendary Kenya middle and long distance runner also competed in the Commonwealth Games, where he won silver in 2002 in Manchester, before he took a bronze in 2006 edition in the 5,000 meters race, which was won by runaway leader Augustine Choge. Those were memorable moments for the Kenya Defence Forces, who had discovered his potential while he was still in school.
I wasn't sure of which event to run before I came to participate in cross country for my military team. I used to be a good athlete when I was in class 3, only that in school you have to do everything. In high school, I used to run in relay, 4x400 meters. And that is where, with the help of my coaches and with the help of my friends, I discovered that I was good in cross country. And somebody who is good in cross country is good in middle distance. And middle distance, I decided to run 5,000.
Despite all that, Limo never made it to the Olympic Games for one reason or the other.
Every year, Olympics year was a disastrous. I remember the first trials for the Olympics was in 1996. I got injured, 2,000 trials in Kasarani. I remember we did it, and at the bell we were 6 athletes running. It was High, Richard Limo, Kitai, Paul Tergat, Philip Musima, and Chepkirui, Albert Chepkirui, Sami Kipketer. And by bad luck, the 3 of us fell down at the bell. And only 3 would manage to go for the Olympics. 2004, I had an injury. And I developed an injury immediately after cross country in Gong Race Course, whereby I was spiked. And I spent the rest of my season in Ireland for treatment.
That was the last straw. Come 2007, coupled with a disappointing outing in Osaka World Athletics, he decided to try his luck elsewhere.
I remember I was prepared for that event. Only to my last preparation, I pulled a muscle when I was doing some of my speed works. And I decided immediately after that, Osaka, that I think it's enough for me in track. I want to try other road races, like half marathon and marathon.
He recorded a personal best of 2 hours at 12 minutes and 46 seconds in Amsterdam in 2008.
I ran my first road race, 42 kilometers in Amsterdam Marathon. And I was very okay up to the 30 kilometers. And you know, as an athlete who have been running in road races, I never knew the same shoe you can run in 10 kilometers. You can't run in 42 kilometers. And I decided from there, I don't want to run any road marathon. Let me run half marathon. So I ran also my first half marathon in Philadelphia half, whereby I registered 60 minutes and 58 seconds. And that was my first and only half marathon I raced. And from there, I decided to retire from athletics.
The senior private who ran from the 1,500 meters to the 10,000 meters specialty was, however, in the 5,000 meters, where he registered a personal best of 12 minutes 54.99 seconds in 2003. So he took a break as another calling came up in the IAAF Athletes Commission.
I was elected to serve in the commission of IAAF Athlete Commission 2007 in Osaka, a position I held until 2011 in Daegu, whereby also I was re-elected. I decided maybe we will let us be voice of the athletes in other areas, because to my career I saw I have accomplished. I believe one time it will be accomplished by my generation.
The father of 4, who is married to his beloved Margaret, is still engaged in the IAAF social responsibility programs and still runs for fitness while mentoring others along the way.
Since I retire, I've been taking part in the Standard Chartered Marathon. That is part of my physical preparation.
He was elected in the Uasin Gishu AK branch as a result, but left in a half when he discovered there was more than met the eye.
We did the best we can the first year of election 2013, but 2014 and 2015 wasn't good for me, because I realized that within the organization, within the federation, things were not good, and some other things were done in a manner that it questioned your integrity.
And that's just but a tip of the myriad of problems that later cropped up to cloud the Kenya athletics scene that has brought the sport to disrepute.
I can say without any contradiction that those people who are actually doping were the people who were not talented at least. They are trying to make their own way into athletics. He just saw the people winning money and he wants also to make money. That's a shortcut. There is no shortcut in life.
Age is nothing but a number to Edith Masai, who against all odds managed to conquer the IAAF World Cross Country Short Course not only once but thrice, while smashing other track records as well to go down in the athletics history books. The legend, who was born in 1967 in Mount Elgon, started running while in school like most Kenyan athletes.
Nilikuwa naenda mpaka nationals, triangular. Baada ya hapo sasa, wakati nilimaliza shule ndio nikajoin prisons. Nilikuwa nakimbia 800 na 15. Nilikuwa nakimbia tu mpaka nationals, triangular, nimewahi fika Mombasa. Nationals, nikakuja mpaka Nairobi, nikarudi. Lakini kwenda nje sijawahi enda nikiwa shule.
She however discovered her talent at an advanced age when she ventured into competitive running after joining the Kenya Prison Service in 1990.
Nafikiri nilikuwa bado nachanganyikiwa. Nitaweza uoga kidogo, unaona hiyo kitu hiyo. So wakati sasa nilienda nikaandikwa kazi. So sasa unajua nimekomaa. Akina ile ndio mwendo tunakutana na hawa kwa mazoezi. Saa zingine natwangwa hawa. Basi sasa naona roho inakuja nasema okay. Kumbe ninasafanya kitu. So sasa tukawa kwa group. Tukaendelea sasa mazoezi yetu. Hapo sasa ndio tulikuja tukajua talent zaidi mtu anaweza kimbia gani. Ndio nikajoin cross countries na track.
Edith was already 32 years old when she started her dominance in the cross country circuit over the 4-kilometer short race.
Tulikimbia as a prison team. Tukamake team ya cross country nationals 4 kilometers. Wakati tulikimbia prison championships nikashinda, tukaenda Ngong Race Course. Baada ya Ngong Race Course nikawa namba 2, nika make team ya kwenda World Cross Country. Kabla sija make team hiyo 2001 kwenda World Cross Countries, so tulikuanga na competition hapa Kenya sana. Sasa zingine tunakimbia na jeshi, tunakimbia weekend meets, na hakuna mahali penye ilikuwa inanipeleka. Hivyo. Alafu 2000 mwezi wa 8 nikaenda road races. Nikaenda nikakimbia kama road races 5 hivi na nikarudi. So the following year sasa nilikuwa nimepata experience na mazoezi nilikuwa nayo kwa sababu tulikuwa tuna trainingi na competitions hapa Kenya pia. Haikuwa mchezo pia, ilikuwa ni strong. Lakini sasa ni ile sikuwa nimeweza kwenda nje.
She clinched her first World Cross Country medal in 2001 when she settled for the bronze in Belgium while finishing second in the 5,000 meters race during the World Championship in Canada.
So sasa vile nileta hiyo bronze ndio nikanipatia morale sana. Nikajua kwamba okay, kumbe hata ninaweza kimbia mpaka nipate gold. Kwa sababu wale tulikuwa na hawa ni wale tu tutakuwa tukishindana na hawa. Mtu kama Wami, kama Paula Radcliffe tulikuwa tukikimbia hiyo World Cross. So hiyo ni 2001 mwezi wa 3.
There was no denying her, however, in 2002 when she took the World Cross Country 4-kilometer short race title before bagging the silver in the Commonwealth Games 5,000 meters race in Edmonton.
That same year saw her set a new Africa record in Monaco in the 3,000 meters of 8 minutes 23.23 seconds.
Edith Masai. Gold for Kenya. It'll be silver for Ethiopia. And a bronze for Kenya. Silver for Kenya.
Nilikuwa ninajiamini. Nikitrain najua ya kwamba kila mtu anaangalia mimi. Hata wale wapinzani wangu nilikuwa najua tu nikisileki, nikikaa chini wataka chochote nitafanya watafanya. Lakini sasa mimi nilikuwa ninajiamini na ninasema iwe iwalo nikitaka hiyo gold.
The long distance runner also ensured a successful defense of a title in the next World Cross Country Championship in 2003 in Switzerland, the only individual gold medal for Kenya at the time before they took the team title as well.
Johnson's being passed though for the bronze medal. Edith Masai wins it. Witness Kadani in second. And Kenya did it just. 6 points in it. Here they come. Kenya stepping up onto the roster. Masai was first, Kuni was third, Chichi was fourth, and Jeffreting did enough to come in 11.
So mimi nilikuwa najiamini kulingana na mazoezi yangu. So nilikuwa nina make sure kitambo niingie Kenya team. Nikipanda ndege nikienda nilikuwa najua niko sawa. Na nilijua ya kwamba sasa mazoezi nimefanya ya kutosha na nilikuwa na ile moyo ya kusema kwamba nitaweza.
The World Cross Country champion was not yet done. What with the World Athletic Championship in Paris, where she was expected to take the gold, only to be surprised by Ethiopia's Tirunesha Dibaba and settle for the bronze instead in the 5,000 meters. But at least she managed to get the gold in the World Athletics Finals in Monaco later in the year in the 3,000 meters.
Tirunesh Dibaba is coming in for the gold, and Edith Masai must have coming in for the bronze. Edith Masai looks like she's strong and she can finish, but she just did not get the act together. From that lane, she was not blocked. She could have actually sprinted to the finish line.
I think she was blocked a little bit from the inside. I think if she would have had a clear path.
Well, this is athletics, and this is 5,000 meters. This is a crowded field. There's absolutely no way you'll have a clear way. Let's just admit it. Edith Masai did not have the power to finish it.
Hakika nilikuwa na pressure sana. Kulingana na magolden yale nimekimbia yote, mimi nilikuwa champion. Hata officials ya Kenya walikuwa wanaiona, AK walikuwa wanaangalia, walikuwa na hope na mimi nilete gold. Hata mimi pia nilikuwa na hope. Lakini sasa pressure ilikuwa ni mingi. Ya kwanza, nani alikuwa ameenda Qatar? Gold amepeana imeenda Qatar. Na tayari ilikuwa imehesabika gold iko kadhaa. Sasa wakaona hiyo tayari ilikuwa imeponyoka. Sasa lengo lote ilikuwa kwangu. Wakikaa tu wanasema Edith, ni wewe ndio tunakutegemea. Sasa unaona hasa hiyo kitu pia naye, ukitaka kulala unashindwa. Ukitaka kukula unashindwa. So mimi pressure ndio ilikuwa mingi. Ndio sababu nikawa namba 3. Hata karibu niwe namba 4. Juu nilijaribu kulala hata siku 2 usingizi hakuna. Juu ya pressure. Pressure kila mahali. Napigiwa simu nyumbani pia nasema tunakuona. Ni wewe tu. Federation wale tuko nao huko nasema ni wewe Edith. Wewe ndio utatuokoa Kenya.